You have a call at no expense to you from an inmate at Green Bay Correctional Institution. To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang up now.
International rapper, singer, songwriter Maseratti Polo, most notable for his song Green Light's commercial success, was arrested today on sex trafficking charges.
International rapper, singer, songwriter Maseratti Polo, most notable for his song Green Light's commercial success, was arrested today on sex trafficking charges.
Всемирно известный рэпер, певец и автор песен Maseratti Polo, наиболее известный благодаря коммерческому успеху своей песни «Green Light», был арестован сегодня по обвинению в торговле людьми в целях сексуальной эксплуатации.
继说唱歌手及词曲创作人 Maseratti Polo 因涉嫌性交易罪被捕。他最为人所知的作品是商业上取得巨大成功的歌曲《Green Light》。
Międzynarodowy raper, piosenkarz i autor tekstów Maseratti Polo, najbardziej znany z komercyjnego sukcesu swojej piosenki Green Light, został dziś aresztowany pod zarzutem handlu ludźmi w celach seksualnych.
القبض اليوم على مغني الراب العالمي وكاتب الأغاني مازيراتي بولو الذي اشتهر بالنجاح التجاري لأغنيته Green Light بتهمة الاتجار بالجنس.
L'auteur, compositeur, interprète, rappeur international Maseratti Polo, surtout connu pour le succès commercial de sa chanson Green Light, a été arrêté aujourd'hui pour trafic sexuel.
All calls other than properly placed attorney calls may be monitored and recorded. You may begin speaking now.
Trap Rap, MKE Exposed, Part 2.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Trap Rap MKE Exposed Part 2, and I'm your host, Too Real. And today I'm speaking on behalf of the people with my special guest, Maseratti Polo, rapper, singer, songwriter, and most recently, producer and directed over 4 million combined YouTube plays, 100,000 records sold worldwide, and over 500 international radio plays. We are here today to discuss the allegations against him. Let's get to it. Mazi, these are some serious allegations without victim shaming. Can you tell us how you came to know the underage accuser?
Summer 2015.
I was engaged to this Panamanian goddess named Hokabed. Some may know her as Coco. She was from Nebraska, a traveling exotic dancer. And boy, was she exotic. And from time to time, a professional escort. We met on the club scene at a spot called Mango's after one of my sets. The connection was instant. She was in my city looking for a good time, and I was the premier host. I had everything. Exotic whips, a condo 5 minutes from downtown, and access to everything from designer drugs to after-hours alcohol. We linked during her brief stay. She left soon after, headed to her hometown with the promise of returning. Eventually, the distance got to us, and she booked a one-way flight from Atlanta to Milwaukee. We both were living in the fast lane, and who am I to judge her lifestyle? So long as she was safe and healthy, why should I care where her money came from? We spent so much time in Chicago, her with her high-end clientele, and me doing a ton of shows there. It seemed only right that we get a home there. We blowing up everywhere. Socials, Vine, YouTube. The safest decision was moving out of the city. We had set our sights on the northwest suburbs of Illinois. We weren't far from the city of Chicago and about an hour and a half drive from Milwaukee. We just needed to find a house or a condo that met our needs.
July 25th, 2015.
I got a message online by a fan claiming to have been a victim of domestic violence at the hands of her boyfriend. She sent me pictures and images of her injuries. Her name was GT. She said she was homeless and needed help getting her bearings. The decisions was Coco's. Apparently, she had been in a DV situation before, and she thought we should help. I notified GT that I was in Chicago and I could help, but I would need to be back in Chicago after I retrieved her, seeing she was in Milwaukee. She agreed. I thought of it as odd she had me pick her up at a Friars restaurant. We made a few errands and hit the freeway. Me and Coco decided to call it early because we had to see more houses in the morning.
July 26th, 2015.
When we woke up in the AM, something felt odd. GT was gone, and after a closer look, so was Coco's engagement ring, my Rolex, plenty clothes, and $5,000 in cash that was placed in my car in a hidden compartment behind the radio. I was upset. The $5,000 was replaceable. The ring and the watch were gifts and priceless. She had got us, man. I dialed some numbers she had called using our phones, and I ended up speaking to her cousin, who told me this was her MO, and she did this all the time. She agreed to take me to GT if I paid her, and I agreed to pay her if I got my watch and my ring back. I drove so fast to MKE that I ended up getting pulled over by the highway patrolman and receiving a fat-ass speeding ticket in Kenosha. She informed me that GT was at her boyfriend's house, a kid named Royce Finney, and Royce stayed with his mom and two brothers, and at least one of them were armed. Interestingly enough, Royce and his brothers were aspiring rappers and have been trying to get me to help their careers for years. But people always ask for handouts online, and the answer was always, I'll get back to you. Now, I contacted the Buffalo Grove Police Department, but they said it was out of their jurisdiction at that point. So I met up with a few of my boys, and a few of them were armed. But I informed them all that nobody was to get hurt. Nobody should brandish their weapons, even in the event I couldn't get my property back. We met with GT's cousin, and as promised, she took us to GT. When we arrived, we all exited the vehicle and waited outside while GT's cousin went inside. Shortly after her and GT came out, and so did everyone else. The boyfriend, the two brothers, and the mom. Point blank, I told her from the sidewalk, we're not here to cause any trouble. I just want my jury. They can keep the money. She said there wasn't much to show for either. The money had been divided between the boyfriend, the two brothers, and the mother, and half had been split with the getaway driver, and the jury had been given to the driver who picked her up from Chicago, a kid named Shawnee, later ID'd as Shantae Crenshaw. But she could take me to where Shantae was and get the property back. This is what she said. She attempted to tally up the money she had given away to give to me, but it didn't amount to much. We drove around with her, me, and Coco while she attempted to contact Shawnee, and that was a waste of time. We literally took her back to the place we picked her up at. And let me remind you, she had been beaten up less than 18 hours ago by her boyfriend, Royce Finney. And let it reflect, we never entered that house. And I only ever showed up there asking for my property. A few weeks later, I was speeding in my Maserati, and I got pulled over and arrested for substantial battery and robbery. After the case was prosecuted and processed over to the DA's office, the DA reviewed the case, met with the judge and my lawyer, and dismissed it at a pretrial hearing. The case was silent until 2017, when the Sensitive Crimes Unit got involved. Because GT made an allegation of being raped and drugged, but the toxicology report and the DNA kit came back proving that that was a lie. The state, in the effort to prosecute the case, hired a sensitive crimes detective to go see GT and get her to make a new statement. From that interview, which was the fourth statement on record by GT, the state filed charges of armed robbery, party to a crime, armed burglary, party to a crime, kidnapping, and child trafficking. This represents the first complaint made against me in open court.
Hey, I'm finna pull up, man. It's a blackout in the hood. All right, open up the gate.
Okay, so what about the second victim?
There lies the problem. She doesn't exist. Didn't then and don't now.
December 9th, 2015.
I I was in Oak Creek dropping a friend off at a hotel. She was accompanied by a friend, a girl named AL. I was so exhausted I slept the entire ride. My friend drove herself, but I was supposed to grab the wheel and leave, but I fell asleep with the car engine running. I woke up to two white officers on both sides of the whip. One was asking me was I okay while clutching his gun, and the other was flashing his light in my face. He called it a wellness check, but truth was, he stereotyped me. Eventually, this led to them asking me for my driver's license. And when they ran my name, there was a warrant for my arrest. The goddamn ticket I caught driving from Chicago to Milwaukee. You remember? The one from Kenosha? I attempted to pay it on the spot, but they wouldn't allow it. So I was arrested. And there was the question of what to do with my keys and property. I instructed the officers to return it to my friend, MR, who was in the hotel. I waited in the squad car when they made it upstairs. Apparently, they smoked weed and visibly saw alcohol. And after assessing the situation, they found a strange man in the room by the name of Brian. Apparently someone whom MR had solicited for prostitution on tag.com. Hell, how would I know? I was asleep the entire time in the car. And had I known, would I really have sent my keys back up to the room with two officers? The two females were arrested and Brian was free to go, even though he had consumed alcohol, transported weed, and solicited women for sex. Initial interrogation, MR took ownership for soliciting Brian, and both women said I had nothing to do with anything. And up until that night, AL had never done anything inappropriate or even attempted. And I had only come to know AL through MR. I didn't have the slightest idea or concern for her age. As far as I was concerned, she was MR's responsibility and MR's friend.
December 26, 2015.
The state issued one count of child trafficking, one count of human trafficking related to AL and MR. I pled innocent and was scheduled for final pretrial on September 19th. Prior to that date, I was offered a plea for 20 years incarcerated and 5 years on parole. I declined the offer and future negotiations. I was innocent and I wanted to go to trial. And on September 19th at the scheduled final pretrial, the state filed a motion to dismiss the charges.
October 12, 2016.
The state recharged me with no victim of one count of child trafficking. This was the same day that the charges from summer of 2015 involving GT were refiled and joined in one criminal complaint. To this very day, I have never faced AL in open court. The reason why the state never caught her, because she didn't have one bad thing to say about me. Facts. This represents the second complaint made against me in open court.
Whoa. That's a lot to digest. So finally, what about the final victim?
See, that's just it, man. Where there's fire, there's smoke. The bad publicity, the fake news reports had multiple purposes. Not just to turn the public against me, but to elicit more witness accounts. The charges were a smokescreen. Without the victim, the charge involving AL was impossible to prosecute, which explains the dismissal. The counts involving GT were an uphill battle, considering GT had stole money, stole property, lied on 4 different occasions, and was by all means uncredible, which explains why that case was dismissed as well. Enter the third accuser, JMF, a female I started seeing romantically in between October and December 2016. We had a BDMS contract, engaged in a lot of fetish and kink play, bondage, whips, paddles, and our relationship was consensual non-monogamous. In basic terms, we saw other people, but there were safety protocols in place. One was open and honest communication as it relates to sex outside the relationship. 2, protection at all times outside of our relationship. And 3, a safe word.
December 30th, 2016.
While at the Hilton Hotel in downtown Milwaukee, I confirmed JMF had given me a sexually transmitted disease. And in an alcoholic rage, I put my hands on her. I immediately felt ashamed. I regretted it, and so I hurried up and left. And we broke up weeks leading up to my arrest. We would see each other for the occasional hookup or sneaky link, but our breakup was final. She ultimately wanted me to stop seeing my on-again, off-again girlfriend, Deborah. The exclamation point came after she attempted to sabotage my friendships. In February 2017, the month I got arrested for charges related to GT and AL, JMF was also arrested on unrelated charges. Ironically enough, with one of my ex-close friends, Justin Wheeler, also my ex-artist, aka Bankroll Ano. While in custody in a Fond du Lac jail for prostitution and drug offenses, she contacted the DA's office after seeing me on the news and made a statement to get herself out of jail. This statement would lead to the third and final complaint made against me in open court, resulting in 3 different charges: human trafficking, 1 count of battery, which I pled guilty to related to the incident at the Hilton, and 1 count of false imprisonment. This would amount to 3 different complaints made against me over a span of 3 years by 2 accusers and 1 ghost. 8 charges in total, 2 dismissals, and 1 full-length 9-day jury trial where I represented myself in a 4-hour deliberation. In return, guilty verdicts on all 8 counts. You ask, what do they have in common? Well, the DA's office at the time was working closely to former SVU detective Linda, who was tasked with re-interviewing the witnesses after each case had been dismissed, prepping each witness for trial, and following up their testimony with her own perjured testimony, and classifying it as an expert account. These are the allegations before me. This is the controversy. Now you decide.
My question is, why now? Why are you coming forward now?
Because where there's no justice, there's no peace. And me or my family haven't had peace in 7 years. And there can't be any justice without first acknowledging the truth.
1 minute remaining.
I'm innocent.
To whom it may concern, I just want to apologize in advance if my pain in any way makes you uncomfortable.
All calls other than properly placed attorney calls may be monitored and recorded.
You're the ones that believe in me. Oh, trying to see what you're seeing me. Close to British girls tomorrow. Oh, go will you remove my sorrow. I got a hole where my heart should be. Leading to my door for me, and it on my mind constantly. I lay awake, mama said, believe in God, he don't make no mistakes. The devil want my soul. I tell him, wait, I'm busy trying to put this
Trap Rap, MKE exposed. Stay tuned for scenes from part 3.
Freedom, freedom. How will you help me with these demons? You're the ones that believe in me. Oh, trying to see what you're seeing me. Close to British girls tomorrow. Oh, how will you remove my sorrow? Shock and send a telegram at the end. Letting know a baby boy didn't grow into a man. Lost so many friends along this road. My heart went cold. But sure it was a blessing from God. My back against the wall and yet I overcame the odds. Blood in the water, water. Lord protect my daughter. They say pain before pleasure. I just pray it all gets better.